Hello folks, welcome back to the Urban Rider Studio, where today in front of me I have something a little extra special. This is the returning HEDON Hedonist, now meeting ECE 2206 safety standards. We've been anticipating this one for a while, as have a lot of our customers, for good reason. And it retains all of the same great quality of finish, all of the same comfort and style of the original, but of course now it meets these new up-to-date safety standards. Now, a couple of weeks ago I was actually lucky enough to go to HEDON HQ, to go to their workshop and meet members of the team, including one of the owners, Reg, and see these helmets being made for myself. And it gave me a new appreciation for the level of detail and scrutiny that has to go into making a helmet as good as this. I also got to check out the other new helmet of theirs for this year. That would be the HEDON Heroine Racer. Again, now ECE 2206 safety standard approved. And there will be a review of that separately if you want to check that out, but essentially that's their full face helmet. There's a few things you probably want to know about the Hedonist in comparison to the previous version if you were already a fan. Obviously bearing in mind that with ECE 2206 safety standards, generally across the board, that means that the newer helmets are slightly larger than their predecessors, and that is technically true of this one, although it is specific to the shell size. They actually offer this in 4 different shell sizes, and not all of them are larger, so it does depend a little bit, but also bear in mind, it's almost imperceptible. They are slightly larger, but not significantly so. It is still a really slimline helmet, which is great to see. Helmets that meet these new standards are also typically slightly heavier. Again, this is a really lightweight helmet, and they've always been class leading, one of the main competitors of keeping helmets as light as they possibly can do. And that's down to their choice of materials. That helps an awful lot, but it is still a really nice lightweight helmet. Again, great to see. And the last regular change that you'll find with newer helmets are, of course, that the changes in production process mean they are slightly more expensive. And that is true of this one. It's always been a premium helmet. It's always carried that premium price tag, but there really is a great quality of finish to these. So for the colorways like this in front of me, they come in at £429, and they go up to about £529 as of the making of this video, depending on the color that you choose. And as far as colors go, the sky is almost the limit, in as much as they do bespoke and custom colorways as well, if you ask them nicely. And I actually got to see them being made for myself while I was there. Christian, who actually does the painting in-house for them, does a great job. Lovely to meet him. And he was telling me about colorways that he's painted in the past, requests they've actually had in the past. They've even matched it to specific bike colors. But I have to say, for myself, I don't feel like I'd need to stray too much outside of their standard colorways. And I would put that in brackets. I will stress that point, because standard colorways for other brands means something different than it means for HEDON, because honestly, whilst they look great on camera, they look even better in person. As of now, I think we have 10 different color options. We've got their more standard colors, like this ash I've got in front of me. One of my other favorites from their more simple color choices is the stable black. And then the 2 new colorways for this year are the Polvo I have on my left here, which blends from this lighter color at the bottom to this darker color at top. And it's got this really nice kind of fleck to it, which catches the light wonderfully. And then we've got the Eastwood design over here, which has this X over the top. And then again, it's got this kind of sparkle to it when it hits the light. The choice of color on the metal fixtures is also quite specific to each helmet, and you can actually get different snaps to match the visor to that as well, so that it color coordinates really well. I love the metal embossed HEDON logo just attached at the top there, and really simple for branding. That's one of the big selling points to these. Often people want a really clean design, especially when it comes to open face helmets, I find as well. And this one really does just have this HEDON logo on the front there, and everything else on it is super clean looking. They have a calf leather trim and liner, and again the color choice is specific to match the outer shell. And you will notice over time that gets its own patina. Now, a word of caution for anyone who likes to keep their things absolutely pristine, be careful how you put this thing down, how you store it. Because of course, if you place it on this leather, then you are going to start to see that on the bottom over time. Now, I personally don't mind that. I actually quite like it. I invite it on certain things, like my gold top jacket, for example. Again, Again, it's got really quality leather, but I like the fact that it is distinctly mine and it looks lived in, it looks used, but in a good way. It uses a double D-ring closure system around your neck. And actually a word on that for these new safety standards. What I've noticed with all of the new helmets that I've tried on recently is the mounting points for the neck straps seem to be mounted slightly further back so that it presses a little bit more snug against your neck to stop the helmet from rotating around, obviously, whilst it's on your head. And that is more secure, it is safer, but on certain helmets, I've found that it's a little uncomfortable. Not so bad when you're in a sporty position with your chin sticking out slightly, but if you sit upright, you will notice it sometimes against your neck. Now with this one, it's still really comfortable, so that's great to see, and I think some other brands have kind of fallen down on that for me when it comes to the comfort and the fit. But this one does have enough room in there to still make it comfortable on your neck. The outer shell is really strong and long lasting, which is important, especially if you're spending a little bit more on your helmet, you want it to last longer. So these do age really well. They use carbon reinforced fiberglass and they make 4 different shell sizes. That's great to see, and we always call that out when we see it because not only does it mean that the outer shell more closely matches the size of the internals, meaning that you don't have to go for a massive looking helmet. It helps them keep a slimmer profile, which most people want. But actually, speaking to Reg, he made me aware of another thing that's useful about that, which is, if you imagine you have a one-size-fits-all outer shell and you just change the internals, then you're having to kind of pad that out in certain areas to make sure that it fits every different head size. Well, the same principle as you'll find with your motorcycle armor on your arms, your back. You want it to fit snug. You want it to sit exactly where it needs to be so that you're not shaking around in it if you were to ever need it in the event of a crash. So if the outer shell is slimmer, it means it fits more closely, as does the EPS liner. So it sits exactly where it needs to on your head. You haven't got any extra or excess room in there. So it's not just a vanity point, it genuinely has safety implications as well. Sizing and fit has actually been improved on their new helmets as well. Now they always were really comfortable and they had a universal fit, so most head shapes would get on with them absolutely fine, but what we'd often recommend is with the sizing to go up one size from what you would normally be in another brand. So to give myself as an example, in any other brand, generally speaking, I'm a size large, and in the older HEDONs, I would need an extra large. But with the new version, they've been a little bit more generous, there's a bit more room on the inside, and they are more in line with the sizing of other brands. So again, to give myself as a reference point, I am between a size 58 and a 59, so size large in most other brands. And in the HEDON, I am also a size large now. But if you have any questions about sizing, as ever, we have an up-to-date size guide on the website. We do keep an eye on that as well. And if you've got any questions or comments, you can drop them down below and we will get back to you. Now, one last thing to highlight with the Hedonist, and one of my absolute favorite things about it is how surprisingly quiet this helmet can be. It is an open face helmet. My expectation is that that would be really noisy whilst you're out and about, but we've been wearing these all day. We've been out talking on and off the bike, myself and Will, and I have to say at times, I genuinely had to take it off to be able to hear what he was saying to me. And there was a stark difference between the street noise that I could hear when the helmet was off and when I put it back on. I think part of that is the shape of it, the fact that it does hug in really well around your ears and just makes a nice tight seal with your face. Keep your eyes on the channel for more content around HEDON's new helmets. Let us know what you think of it in the comments section. You can find links for it in the description, and I'll see you soon. Bye.